Glass is an incredibly fragile and delicate material. Glass working is not just a craft, it has become an art form. The material is heated up to great temperatures, from 1000 to 2000 degrees Celsius depending on the composition. After that, the glass turns into a flexible mass, which can be used to create anything. Liquid glass can be stretched out to create really thin threads. They harden and take any shape the craftsman wants. The art object you see on the screen proves that glass is a material that offers artists unlimited possibilities for creativity. You just don't have to be afraid to get your hands dirty, to work, to invent, and of course, to spend your time on it. Glass blowing is a unique and old profession which appeared in the ancient world. Therefore, it's not a surprise that today there are a huge number of techniques and ways to work with glass. We're going to talk about that today. The first technique from our list is known as murine. This glassworking method was first used approximately 4,000 years ago in the Middle East. At some points the technology was lost though. Only in the 16th century, Venetian glassblowers somehow managed to retrieve it. This technique looks very intricate. Murine are coloured patterns or images made with the help of a special tool that looks like a tube. Thin glass canes are placed inside it in a certain sequence. It's noteworthy that the workflow begins with the creation of these tubes, which is not a very easy task. Choosing the right colours is a very important part of the process. The whole procedure looks like creating a tiny mosaic, where each element has its own place, otherwise you won't get the right pattern. Once the glass tubes are placed inside, the tool is heated and all the elements merge together. The cross-section of the resulting product reveals the image. This technique can be used to generate a wide variety of designs, from simple patterns to incredibly detailed drawings. Murine glass usually doesn't exceed the size of a coin. A lot of these elements, once merged together, form intricate vessels, vases, and sometimes even paintings. As you already know, to make glassware, the glass is heated to an incredibly high temperature, so you can't touch it with your hands. Therefore, a metal tube is one of the main tools of glassblowers. Here, for example, it's used to create a glass pumpkin. No matter how complex the finished product may be, the workpieces look almost the same. Skillful hands, talent, and a relatively small set of tools are all that's needed to create some beautiful vases and sculptures. Interestingly, heated glass has a reddish shade, which doesn't let you see the real colour of the glass. Only a few seconds after interacting with fire, the glass cools down and its true colour can be determined. By the way, dyeing glass is very simple. The hot workpiece is rolled in a special pigment. Sometimes, in order to give shape to the future product, it's more effective placing the glass in a special mold instead of using hand tools such as pliers and tubes. Later on, the workpiece is turned several times to finally get the desired shape. At the same time, the master uses pliers to remove the excess of material. Here you can clearly see the work of another very popular tool that's used by glassblowers. Again, it looks like an ordinary metal tube, hollow on the inside. It's specially built to allow the user to blow in the air from one end. The other end is equipped with a heat-resistant steel tip to attach the glass workpiece. The pressure created by the air makes the glass stretch and the workpiece increase in size. Many modern workshops use more sophisticated tools, such as automatic blowing pipes. The air in them is supplied from a tank. Such tools are used for mass production when the manufacturer doesn't want to blow all day long. To create a complex sculpture, different areas of the workpiece are heated in turns. The master presses down and squeezes the hot glass to obtain the desired shape. Here, for example, he's creating a glass skull. He uses pliers to separate the glass from the pipe, but he doesn't simply cut it off. Instead, he just makes it narrower. After that, the glass is cracked off. The master hits the tube and the thin glass breaks. By the way, glass Christmas bulbs are made in a similar way, but the source material looks different. A large Christmas bulb always starts with a glass hollow tube. Air is blown into the tube from one end, and the future ornament starts taking shape beginning from the middle. In this case, a gas burner is used to heat the glass. The technique you see on the screen is really interesting. With the help of a stream of focused fire, the master cuts the glass, giving the ornament an extremely unusual shape. The workpiece is then carefully treated to turn it into a thin coil. By the way, glass is not always colored at the blowing stage. Sometimes, to create a particularly interesting product, the dyeing is carried out after the glass has cooled down. Here, for example, artists use the most common brushes and special paints to decorate some Christmas decorations. Only the imagination and skills of the master determine the limits of what can be done with glass. Here, for example, a new piece is made right inside a finished glass product. And here, the heated glass is placed in a pre-made frame. At the moment of cooling, both glass products join together, creating an extraordinary product. Consistency is usually the key to making something peculiar and unique. Here, for example, the work was conducted in 2 stages. First, a container with holes was made, and only after it cooled down a little, the master filled it with liquid glass of another color. If you've ever wondered how glass chandeliers are made, this video is the answer to all your questions. Such complex shapes are made up of many separate elements. In the fastening points, the glass tubes are heated with a gas burner. And here we see the master creating something like a street lamp frame. By blowing glass out of the metal grid, he creates a very original shape. And of course, instead of a metal grid, a glass grid can be used. In this case, an unusual cup is being created. The last thing we'll show you today is a fundamentally different way of painting glass. Here, the master no longer uses powder pigment. Instead, the heated piece is lowered into a bowl with large glass chips. Because the temperature is so high, the chip sticks to the workpiece. Then he heats up the product again and rolls it out so that all the elements become one. This technique allows you to paint the glass not completely, but rather to achieve an original, spotty effect. Interestingly, since the pieces are inflated manually, they almost never have the same shape or size.